Hi, this is Said Fauzi from Ignite Solution Egypt. In this video, I will walk you through step by step in backing up and restoring in SharePoint. Many videos are available on the internet discussing how to plan your data protection, so I won't go through that. This session is just a practical and instructive step-by-step demo in how to protect your data through backing up and how to deal with disaster in situation and restore your data back. The first thing I want to refer to here that all information in this video apply to both SharePoint 2013 and SharePoint 2010. The procedure and scripts are all the same. Although you will find my demo is on SharePoint 2010 machine, but it is still the same steps on SharePoint 2013 too. What we will cover. So, what we will cover in this session. I will answer two questions really. The first one is, what should you back up? You have to back up from different places really. When you want to protect your data against the disasters, you have to back up from within SharePoint itself, from SQL Server, and from IIX. The second question is, what should you do in the case of disaster? How to get back your data? In fact, I have 13 disaster cases. I will show you practically how to get back your data in case of each. First, I want to show you the SharePoint site that we will protect in this demo. Here we have a farm consists of one site collection and many sites for many departments. I have many data that I do care about protecting against loss in many libraries in every department. For example, in IT department, I have IT doc. I have IT doc library where I have many documents I concern about and I need to protect. To prepare our backup, I have created a folder called backup. And I share it. In this folder I will keep my backup files. It is required that your path for the backup files to be shared folder in your network. Let's start answering our first question. What should you backup? SharePoint backup. You have to backup from many places. The first place is SharePoint itself. In SharePoint, you have many levels of protection you might be concerned about. The whole farm, the site collection, sites, lists and libraries, and items. Let's start with the item level. How to protect every item the user adds to a list or a library. In fact, you have two risks you should concern about the item. The first is the bad update. It means that someone updated a file or a list item with a wrong data, and you want to recover to an old version of the document. Second is the complete deletion of the item from the list or library. For the first risk, bad update of an item, you simply enable the versioning in the library containing the sensitive document. But remember, that is always in the texts of the size of storage available for the library. Every time the document updated, the old copy stays on the hard disk and available in history beside the new one too. Let me show you how to enable the versioning in the library. For protecting your items in the library from deletion, you have two-stage recycle bin that can be used. The first stage is the user recycle bin, and by default it remains 30 days before it goes to the site collection recycle bin. You can adjust the days the item will remain in recycle bin from the central administration, like I will show you now. In central administration, choose application management. Click the web application, then click manage web application. Then choose the application, the web application containing the site collection you want to manage, and from the menu, for example here SharePoint 8, from the menu choose general settings. In the recycle bin section, you can adjust the number of days the items in recycle bin will be deleted after, and adjust the quota for the second stage recycle bin. Here is 30 days and 50% of the site quota. Now let's go up one level. What if we want to protect our libraries and lists from deletion? You have to back up the list or the library you want to protect. You can do that in two ways: through central administration or scripts for PowerShell. I want to mention something here. The graphical interface method in central administration doesn't allow you to schedule your backup. PowerShell scripts allow you to save your scripts in a PS1 file. You can schedule it to run in regular time. So if you prefer the GUI method, you have to make it yourself manually every time. Now let me show you the both methods. In this demo, I will back up the IT-doc library, which are under the IT site. In the central administration, choose from the left backup and restore. Under granular backup section, choose export a list or site. If it is not your site collection, click the arrow and choose change site collection to get your site collection. Click the arrow next to the site to choose your site. I want the IT here. Next to the list, choose the library you want. I wanted the IT doc, so I will choose it. In the file name, write a path to the share folder and a file name. For example, this is the name of my server, and this is the folder where backup, and here is a name, for example library underscore IT doc, and I will give it extension of back as a backup. You can choose override the existing file if you want to write over the file if it is exist. If you want to export the security belongs to this library, the users and the permission, check export fault security. If you want to export all versions of the documents, choose all versions from the export versions combo box, and then click start export. This screen is refreshed by default, and you can refresh. Okay, so after a while you will find your backup files are generated here in the backup folder. Now let me show you how to backup the same library using the PowerShell commandlet. Here is I have prepared a script in a PS1 file. All I have to do is drag it and drop it in PowerShell. But let us see what is in the script first. The commandlet is export SharePoint web, and in the attribute identity I give it the path to the IT web site I want to backup from, and I add item URL attribute, and I give it the name of the library I want to backup, and I can have the options of including security and the options of include all versions. I have to say all, and in the path attribute I will give the path to the backup folder that I have shared in the SharePoint 2010 server. Okay, and I will give it for sure the name of the file that will be the backup file. I will name it this time library underscore IT doc underscore PS, so it is distinguished from the one I made before in the central administration. Let us run the script and see the result. To run the script, I'll go to the SharePoint 2000 management shell. It's not you do not run the SharePoint the PowerShell. You run the SharePoint management shell. Okay, you can run it. It is run under the credential of administrator anyway. Okay, so I will just drag it and drop it here. Then I'll press enter and let it work. I can go now and see okay, I will see now that IT doc underscore BS is appearing in the backup. Protection at site level. Now let us go up one level. How to protect your site from deletion. You also have two options to do that, through the central administration or PowerShell commandlets. Let me show you that. In this demo, I will back up the IT site. In central administration, I will choose backup and restore from the left, and under granular backup section I will choose export a site or list, and as I did before, but here I will not choose a list, I will choose no list, clear selection. So I have no selection in the list, and I will give it a path to the backup file, First I put the name of my server and the backup file, I will call it site underscore IT, and I will give it CA, indicating that this backup has been made by central administration. Sure, you can export full security if you want to export the security on the permission of the site, and export all versions of the documents inside the site. Okay, and click start export. This screen is refreshed automatically, and now if you go to the backup, you will find it start a backup site and a log file and many files, really, if the site has many documents and content. Now let me show you how to backup a site using the PowerShell. I also have a PS1 file here as a script. I will drag and drop in PowerShell, but let me show you first what is inside this script. It is the same commandlet, export SharePoint web, but in this time I won't give it item URL as I did to indicate the library or list in the previous demo. I will give it only the path to the site, and I will include security, and I will include all versions, all, and give it path to the file in the share backup folder. Okay, the attribute force means if there is it means overwrite, like overwrite in the graphical user interface. Okay, let us try the script. Yes, I will just drag it and drop it here and press enter, and it will work, and you will find it in the backup site here. Protection at site collection level. Now let's go up one more level. How to protect your site collection. You also can use both central administration and PowerShell commandlets. Let me show you. In the central administration, choose backup and restore from the left. Under granular backup section, choose perform a site collection backup. Choose the site collection you want using the arrow when it appears. Yes, here if it is not, change the site collection and choose the site collection you want to backup, and in the file name give it a path to SharePoint 10.01 backup, and a file name like site collection, and I will give it indication like CA as central administration backup to indicate it from the PowerShell. I will make it after that and back. Okay, I can also overwrite the existing file if I check this. Okay, start backup. This screen is refreshed automatically, and you will find your backup files in the backup files here. Site collection. After you start, you'll find site collection backup here. Okay, you can organize yourself more than that. Of course, you can make a folder for every kind of backup. It's better. It's and you can run this script through schedule in your server. Now let me show you how to make the same backup of site collection but using the PowerShell. The command is backup sb site, and in the identity I will give it the path to my site collection. So easy. And in the path I will give it the path to the file it will be back up to. I'll indicate it by _ps dot back, and of course force to overwrite the file if it is existing. Let us try it. Okay, in my PowerShell I just drag and drop it here and press enter. It will work, and now you can find it in the backup folder here. Okay, after a while you'll find it here. Here it is. It appears. Okay, and the mini files, of course, it will appear. Protection at farm level. You also have two options to do that, through the central administration or scripts for PowerShell. Let me show you that. Now let me show you how to backup the whole farm. First I will create a folder in my backup folder called the farm, because in this time the full backup of the farm create a folder and a file, so it's better to have it in a folder. In fact, it's better to have every backup in a folder because it creates many files. Okay, in the central administration I will choose backup and restored from the left, and from backup and restore I will choose perform backup. You can choose components to backup from the farm, but if you want to backup the whole farm, just choose the farm option and all will be selected and click next. In this section you have to choose the kind of backup. You can choose the type of backup, full or differential. Full means backup the selected content with all history. Differential backups, all changes to the selected content stands the last of all backup. I guess it is so I give it in this time. I don't give a backup file, I give a backup folder to backup. Here I give it a folder called the farm, okay, because it creates a file and folder subfolders. Then just click start backup and let it work. It will take time of course, and in the farm it will appear after a while, of course. Yes, it start to backup. Here is an XML file and a folder containing many files, SPR, SPBR, okay, with many files. Okay, this is our farm backup using the central administration. Now let me show you the script to do the same farm backup using the commandlets for PowerShell. The commandlet is backup sb farm. Notice that this time I called it directory, not path. Okay, the attribute is directory. I only give it a directory because I give it a directory, a folder, not a file. Okay, and I will backup method, it is full. Okay, that's all. SQL Server backup. The second place you should go and backup your data is SQL Server. First, you have to set recovery model for your database. The first thing you should do is to set the recovery model of your SQL Server databases. I won't go into details here, but I recommend that you set the recovery model of your content database to full. Let me show you how to do that. In SQL Server Management Studio, right-click your content database and choose Properties. Choose from the left options. Then in the recovery model, choose full and press OK. That's all. Decide backup type for each database. You have many backup types in SQL Server. You have to decide with your SQL administrator which type of backup you will perform regularly. Will you perform a full backup every week and a daily differential? It depends on how fast you want to recover your SQL Server back. Backing up database. So, what database you must backup? Your system database, like master and the MSDB, are small database. You should have regular copy of from. They are so essential for your SQL Server. Also, you can backup your SharePoint services database, so you don't have to create and configure your services again in the case of failure. The most important is your content database. You should backup, although when you backup your SharePoint Site collection or farm, you can recover them and create back all your databases again, but it is so important to have a backup from your data in SQL Server too. I will show you later how could you use the database backup in case of a failure of your SharePoint backup. So it is important to have redundant backup of your data. Let me show you how to perform a manual backup to your SQL Server database. Okay, I have created a database, a folder called database here on my backup. In the central administration, I will right click my content database, choose tasks, then backup. In the backup, in the destination section, I will remove this destination and I will add, select backup destination. I will choose file, and I will refer it to the backup database folder I have created, and I will call it my content db dot back. Then I press OK. OK. Then I will select it and say OK. I should find my file here after completing. IIX backup. Backing up IIX is so tricky. Your SharePoint restore process will create your website again if you are restoring a full farm backup or site collection backup. But be careful. If you customize any file outside SharePoint, like web config file, for example, you must have a backup from any customization you did outside the SharePoint central administration. But also, what if there is only a problem with IIX configuration? What would you do? Will you restore the whole farm to get the configuration back? In fact, the backup of IIX file and configuration are so easy, and recovering IIX from failure is a one-step recovery. So let me go through with you what you should backup in IIX. Backup IIX virtual directories. The path of all web applications by default, unless you changed it manually, is in this path you see. Let me show you where the virtual directories of your web applications reside. In the C drive of your server, you will find a folder called init.bap. Okay, inside it you will find www-root, then WSS, virtual directories. Those are all your web applications, and I have this is for my central administration web applications and so on. So go and take this directory, all it, and keep it and make it one or part of your system backup every day. Backing up IIX configuration. In IIX 7 there is no graphical interface for backing up configuration, but it is so easy to do so. Let me show you the steps to back up the IIX configuration. Now let me show you how to use your command line to back up your IIX configuration. It is so easy and it's one command. Okay, right click your command prompt and choose run as administrator, and go to the directory where the application, which is called app command, is reside. It is reside under the Windows directory. So I will write change directory % windir %. This is the variable for Windows directory. Then system 32, then init srv. Okay, here I am inside the directory where is the application command is reside. I will write app cmd app cmd, then add backup space and the name of my backup. Let me call it Said backup 2014 number 1. Okay, and press enter. If I want to see all the backup I have made before, I app backup app command, sorry, and then list backup. It will give me the list of all backup, and I will see here my backup. Let me show you. First I change the directory to the init serve back folder, then I use it app command add backup, then the name of my backup folder. Okay, if I want to list all my backup I had made before, this is all the backup I have made and the system had made the before. Here is on the top side backup 2014 number 1, and this backup I can find on my C drive of my server, under Windows, under System 32, under init serve. Here I have a folder called backup, and here is my backup. Take this backup, okay? I will show you how to restore it in the disaster recovery section, okay?